guys, and welcome to Heidi's Fish Tank. I'm going to talk about a little bit of a controversial topic here on the internet, and it is the fish police. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, count yourself lucky because you probably have not been involved in many Facebook groups. But there is a phenomenon called the fish police where people are kind of all up in your business about your stocking levels and the fish that you happen to keep. And it's a nuanced topic. It actually kind of made me scared to post my beta video. That's my baby right there. Say hi, Irene. It made me kind of scared to post my beta video because some of what I had to say was a little bit critical of the fish police, and that's exactly my point. The fish police do make it so that people don't want to share what it is that they're doing. The truth is, a lot of people do all kinds of stuff that isn't necessarily by the book according to the fish police, and they're just quiet about it because they don't want to deal with the conflict and the fallout. Now, there are three particular fish that tend to have fish police the most. There are others, but these three tend to be the most common that I see when I'm on Facebook. The first one is bettas. Bettas is how it's pronounced. This one I have seen, I think it's the most aggressive, and I have some opinions about how and why that is I will get to in a moment. The second is goldfish. People tend to, in my experience, be a little bit more gentle with the goldfish thing. And the third one is, in the saltwater world, tangs. The tang police, the goldfish police, the betta police, they're all out there. And the truth is that these people that are the police are people that truly care about the well-being of their animals. And I think that that's really, really admirable. They truly believe that what they are advocating for is best practices. And probably it is. I actually tend to find myself agreeing with the fish police from time to time. But I also believe that there are exceptions to every rule that is out there. And for me, it's more about tact. So screaming at someone, over the internet, telling them that they didn't do their research properly, or that they don't care about their fish, or that they're awful fish keepers, is not an effective way to help them. And if you look at yourself, fish police, I would wager that most of you probably did the same thing. So put yourself back in the beginning there and think about what it would have been like if someone had yelled at you the way that you seem to be doing. There are productive ways to help people when they are overstocked. All of us make mistakes. The fish police is another reason why I was really afraid to post my video about how I got everyone sick by not quarantining, because there are definitely people that will tell you, fish police, that will tell you you should quarantine every fish. And honestly, those people are right. A lot of times the fish police are right. But despite the fact that most of us know we should quarantine our fish, most of us don't actually do it. Similarly, we all started somewhere. There was all a time that we didn't know what the nitrogen cycle is. If you don't, watch my video on it. There was all a time that we probably overstocked our tank because we didn't know what we were doing. And so I think being nice, being sympathetic is way more productive. When I was a kid growing up in the 90s, I kept a lot of fish, and the fish that I kept, the only resources that I had at the time, well, they were twofold. One was a book that I got from the library that I checked out maybe 1,000,000 times. I was obsessed with that book. I drove my sister crazy because she could not care less about fish, but I was constantly trying to learn about fish. But I only had that one resource because the internet was a relatively new thing at the time. And the second resource that you had was whatever fish store you were buying your fish at. So in our case, it was big chain pet stores like PetSmart and Petco, which some have very, very knowledgeable employees. Others don't have the most knowledgeable employees, or the store policy is not necessarily in line with what, say, the fish police would tell you. Now, I would not go back to the 90s if I could, because one, I killed a lot of fish. It's true. I did a lot of things where I really messed up, and having access to resources like the internet would have really, really, really helped me. And I think that fish keeping is very, very helpful. I wish that I had access to the internet in the 90s when I was trying to keep fish. But with the internet comes pros and cons, and one of the cons, in my opinion, is the way that we scare new people off from the hobby. We make it sound like it's much more difficult than it needs to be, and instead of taking opportunities to teach things like the nitrogen cycle, or teach things like, here's how to tell if your aquarium is overstocked, we yell at them, tell them to do their research, and then don't give them access to the information. Most of the time, in my opinion, people who are coming to forums are doing so because they are trying to do their research. They are literally there to do their research, and this is part of the research process. Another thing about yelling at people for not quote unquote doing their research is most people think that their pet store employee should be adequate at being able to tell you how to care for the thing that the pet store does in fact sell. If I go to a restaurant, I expect the server to be able to tell me what is in the food that I'm eating. If I go to my doctor, I expect, although it hasn't always been the case, that my doctor does know a thing or two about the medicine that they are providing. And it's really hard to blame people when they think that they really are doing their research. The internet can be such a messy, messy place, which is why I hope that this channel is balanced, and I hope that it's helpful. I don't ever want to turn into the fish police, but at the same time, I don't ever want to advocate for things that aren't actually good for the animals. Fish are living animals. They are pets, and they should be treated as such. But I think that there is a difference between quote unquote fish abuse and just not knowing. So that's some of my thoughts on fish policing. I hope that this video resonates. If you are someone who is genuinely trying to learn, or you've been hurt by the fish police in the past and the fish police have scared you off from helping other people, because that is something that happens. A lot of times people who are knowledgeable in a topic won't say anything to the people who need help. Hi, honey. You want to sit on my lap? Won't say anything to the people who need help because the people who are more knowledgeable don't want to get yelled at by the fish police either. It has its pros and cons. If you are looking for a really good resource, the one that I find to be the best and most helpful and least judgmental is my local fish store and aquarium co-op. I really like what Corey is doing for the fish keeping community. That is both morphing what the internet has as benefits and trying to combat some of the negatives that can come with it. It's really important, if you're new, to remember that people on the internet are people on the internet. Anyone can post anything, and if I decide that I think that your fish needs 1,000 gallons or you're abusing them, I can say that. And because I have a YouTube channel, I can become the authority on that topic. And that is very problematic. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people take a YouTube video and post it as fact. Now, I have to say that I have done that as well. I frequently will share stuff that Corey shares, but ultimately it's about researching for yourself and finding answers for yourself. And I think that those of us with more experience can make it a little bit easier on those of us that are new or learning or have just made the mistake of overstocking, which many of us have done at some point in time, especially when it comes to animals that have very conflicting information online. For example, with something like a tang, you can go to one website that will tell you that you need hundreds of gallons of water for that tang, and another website that tells you you need 75 gallons of water for that tang. So it's very difficult when other resources are giving you conflicting information. Anyways, I hope that this video was helpful. Thumbs up for helping people in a way that is nice and productive instead of making them feel bad. Let us know in the comments, have you been the victim of fish police? How do you think that you could solve this problem, and what do you think could be improved on the internet when it comes to the fish keeping world? I'd love to hear from you guys. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any videos. Be sure to hit the bell button actually to be sure you don't miss any videos. And I will talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.